I'm 26, I've been with my fiancée for 3 years, she's 24. She's got me paying for her entire family. Is this getting out of hand? I'm 26, earning a high salary that puts me in a completely different financial bracket than my fiancée, who is 24. We've been together for 3 years and engaged for a few months, but her constant financial demands are really testing my limits. A few days ago, her cousin had a medical emergency and needed a large sum for hospital bills. It was a significant amount, one I couldn't ignore. I told my fiancée that I simply couldn't pay it, and she went off on me, calling me selfish and saying if I truly loved her, I would help her family. Her mum even sent me a text saying that I was wrong for not stepping up. And it didn't end there. Just a few days later, her uncle, who I've never met, reached out and asked me for a loan to fund a business idea. He made it sound urgent, and of course, my fiancée was right there, nodding like it was no big deal. I said no, and once again my fiancée guilt-tripped me, saying, "This is how my family survives. Why can't you just help?" It's a pattern now. Whether it's paying for vacations, covering hospital bills, or funding business ventures, I'm always expected to foot the bill. I'm starting to feel like I'm just a walking ATM, not a partner. In the comments, Loadbolt says, "You need to stand your ground and stop being the ATM for her family. If her family's bills are that big of a concern for her, she can start giving her own money." New Eleni says, "This girl is going to end up killing her goose that lays the golden eggs." I remember another story where this guy's stay-at-home girlfriend basically embezzled like $50K from him to help her sister, basically completely subsidizing her life. When he was like, "This is getting out of hand," she had the nerve to get mad at him and then stress the importance of family to her. When he finally broke up with her, she was all shocked and tried to backtrack everything. Too late. She had a charmed life where he paid for everything, and she lost it all by greedily insisting he support her family. Dude, 4 things ruin marriages: infidelity, abuse, in-laws, and finances. This isn't going to change soon. She's been raised with this mindset about money, and it's going to stick. Her family sounds problematic as well, and it seems as though she chooses them over you. You need to decide whether you are prepared to deal with this in the long term. If not, call it off now before you get married or have kids. Nobody will judge you for it. Love trumps all is bullshit. Finances is a major element in marriages, and if you and her aren't aligned, it's only going to end up in a disaster. Financial compatibility is right up there with sexual compatibility. If it was me, knowing what I know now, I wouldn't stick around. Not when there are lots of fish in the sea who could fit better, or just to avoid all that strain and headache at least. Just saying. Yeah, I mean, don't be a mark, OP. You can be 3 years with your fiancée, and when you tie the knot, you just know she's going to use that to press the advantage further to get as much money out of you as she can. It's obvious that she doesn't care about you. She just cares about you funding her family. Please, the mask is slipped. Take her at face value. She's financially abusing you. She's allowing her in-laws to say and do whatever they want to you to get money out of you. This is not a partner. This is a sugar baby at best. It is getting out of hand. Get out of there. And now, onto the update. Sorry it took time to update. It's been a hectic few days. I didn't expect this whole situation to blow up like it has. I thought that I was just making a decision for my own well-being, but the amount of support and advice I've received has been overwhelming. Thank you to everyone who offered their thoughts. Seriously, it's been helpful in ways I didn't anticipate. I told her that I can't go through with the wedding. I explained that the constant financial stress, the guilt-tripping, and the complete lack of boundaries from her family have made it not possible for me to see a healthy future with her. Her initial reaction was a mix of anger and tears, but when her family found out, they started harassing me with messages, accusing me of abandoning her and claiming that I need to panagutan, or be accountable for her. because she was a virgin before we met and she helped me a lot. Most sane Filipino family, least guilt-tripping Filipino in-laws. Their messages quickly escalated into threats, making it clear that they were trying to pressure me into staying in the relationship and continuing to support them financially. On top of that, when I mentioned that I'd been so stressed I was considering getting a vasectomy because I can't imagine raising children in such a toxic environment, her family's harassment only intensified. They're now demanding that I go through with the wedding or pay up. Thankfully, my parents have been an incredible source of support throughout all this. They are fully behind my decision to call off the wedding and have even offered to help me handle the harassment legally if needed. I've saved all the messages and threats to protect myself in case this goes further. I also told my fiancée that she needs to move out of my place. Now she's refusing to leave unless I give her 6 months or a year of living costs and rent up front. I feel like she's just trying to take advantage of me one last time before the relationship is officially over. Yes, this has been one of the most draining experiences of my life, but I'm determined to move forward and protect myself. In the comments, Prize Bumblebee says, "Oh, she's definitely trying to squeeze you one last time. Mortifying. You made the right decision. There is light at the end of this tunnel. You will feel so much better and free once this runs its course. Horrible people." Need to panagutan. For anyone wondering, this is a Tagalog word, meaning the fiancé and family are from the Philippines. This story not only makes sense, this is basically the default in the Philippines. Send young beautiful girl out to nab rich guy, use rich guy to support entire family. The fact that OP didn't know what was going on shows a complete lack of awareness of what he was getting into. OP is Filipino if you check his comments. It seems like he was ready to help her out with some financial obligations because her family is from a lower income background. But he didn't expect just how much she would milk it. Amen, the juice is not worth the squeeze, that's all I'm saying. Learn from this one, you got a few good years out of it, but don't let yourself get into situations like this. It seems like it was a bit of a crab in a slowly boiling pot situation. He's just realized, oh shit, I'm cooking from the inside, I'm dying right now. You know, the entire family is squeezing me for cash. I don't know, like, he's from the culture, he knows what it's like. Surely people talked about it and gave him examples of how this occurs in Filipino culture. How was he so surprised and, like, so taken aback by all of this? Some things just boggle the mind. I'm glad he got out of there, and I'm glad he didn't allow them to take any more money off of him. Thank you for the story, OP. What do you guys think of this one down below? Let me know. Our next post is by user saltfall5312, and it's titled, "Am I the asshole for refusing to cook Thanksgiving lunch after 15 years?" So for the past 15 years, I, 38 female, have been the one cooking Thanksgiving lunch, or at least the turkey and most of the food. It's been a tradition, but this year, I am completely burnt out. I'm a teacher with 4 kids, ages 2 to 15, and this year has been especially stressful with work, parenting, and school. I just don't have the energy to take on such a big responsibility again. I suggested that my sister-in-law, who just moved into a new house, should maybe host this year and could make the turkey. She's a stay-at-home mum with 1 child who is 11 months old, so I thought that it wouldn't be too much to ask. My mother-in-law immediately shut that idea down, saying sister-in-law is unreliable and might not wake up early enough to make it. How's that my problem? I then suggested that my brother-in-law's wife could also take on the responsibility. They got married this summer, but have been together for over 5 years. She's never cooked a turkey before, but my mother-in-law said the turkey cooks itself, so I don't see why she can't give it a try. Everyone else shows up to eat every year without lifting a finger, but when I suggest not cooking this year, it's suddenly a crisis. When I told my husband I wasn't cooking, he said I'm just resentful because his parents helped sister-in-law buy her house. That's not true. I even suggested the second sister-in-law could make the turkey. Then he brought up that I'm mad because every time we have a date night, his parents tell my older daughter, who babysits her siblings, that we are neglecting our responsibilities as parents. I pointed out how unfair that is, but he just said, we're the most stable, so that's why we're always asked to take on more. What's going on here? What? Your family hates you, OP. This man hates you. This is not the response a partner who's on your side is supposed to give you in this situation. What is going on? My husband thinks my decision not to cook has less to do with stress and more to do with his family. He said I only decided not to cook after my mum said she wouldn't be coming over. My mum has been battling breast cancer for the past 10 months and just wants to stay home this year and avoid being around so many people. Last year, my parents spent Thanksgiving with my sister, who couldn't travel, but I still cooked for his family. In the past, I hosted Thanksgiving at our house because my family and siblings were coming over, but I've still made the turkey for his family for the last 15 years. Even the years that we hosted for only his side. So the idea that I'm refusing because it's his family isn't true. My husband also said that I have 5 days to rest before Thanksgiving and doesn't understand why I can't just cook the turkey. I explained that I don't want the responsibility of waking up early, making the turkey, and dealing with everyone asking me, is it almost done? For once, I just want to show up, sit down, and eat like everyone else does. He threw in that I've been hosting Thanksgiving for the last 7 years, which I pointed out is exactly why I'm tired. When I told him that I didn't want to do it, he accused me of neglecting my motherly duties, which really hurt. Why should I always be expected to take on the stress of cooking when others don't have to because they can't or don't want to? Well, I don't want to this year either. Am I the asshole for refusing to cook this year? In the comments, Wrong Moose says, motherly duties? Yeah, screw that. Your husband needs to shut his pie hole. In fact, tell hubby that he either backs you or he can do it all. Cooking, cleaning, including before the meal and after. And don't take no for an answer. Not the asshole. Specific Apple asks, my only question back to the motherly duty part is, how aren't the other mothers then not neglecting theirs if they don't take turns for the holidays? How is she the only bad mother because she won't host, but all the other mothers in the family haven't hosted in years? That's what I would say to the duh of a husband. May I politely suggest that you have a husband problem? He does not have your back and is gaslighting you. Your mother-in-law does not respect you and appears to value her daughter and other daughter-in-law more. Your husband will listen to what mummy says and acts accordingly. Not the asshole for refusing to cook. Go visit your mum for Thanksgiving. So your husband has volunteered to do all the prep, cooking, hosting, and cleaning, right? Still not good enough since you said you'd like a break. Good luck on his marriage to his sisters and mum, since he seems to value them more than you. Yeah, Opie's not responding to any of the comments, which I would love to get more of a perspective on her side before the update as to where she's coming from with all of this, but, it didn't happen. I very much see this as an incredible disrespect to OP. With him just saying that he's only not doing it because mum has breast cancer and she's recovering. What a spiteful thing to say. Oh yeah, your dad's in hospital and might die. Pfft, you know how manipulative you're being for not wanting to cook Thanksgiving for the 10th year in the row because your dad might die anytime? What's wrong with you? That is some manipulative bullshit if I ever heard it. The whole family is used to and expects her to do all of the work for Thanksgiving, and it doesn't sound like OP's husband does much of the labor during that day. It sounds like she takes up all of the responsibility for hosting and for cooking. I'd be tired too. I'd be done after the first time hosting. She got the patience of a saint for having 4 kids and a 5th one with that husband, and then having to do all of Thanksgiving herself and have to fight his battles, which he does not support her? Man, do you not see why divorce is so often brought up? Does anyone want to personally deal with that much emotional load? That much bullshit? How do you have time for anything when you're juggling so much? I know I'm making assumptions that the husband isn't doing a lot. I'm sure he does do his part. But him, seeing all of this, being with her for so long and still supporting his family is outrageous. I'm not saying divorce in this instance, but I can see why people do it. Just talk to him, slap some sense into him, and get him back on your side. And now, onto the update. Thanks to everyone who weighed in on my original post. I was overwhelmed with the response, as this is my first time posting. After a lot of back and forth with my husband, here's where things stand. I told him that for lunch, the kids and I would be going over to my mum's house. She's recovering from breast cancer and just wants a quiet day, so I want to spend time with her. I told my husband he was welcome to join us or not. That's his choice. He asked me if I could meet him halfway by popping the turkey in the oven before leaving for my mum's, so his family could eat at 3. I said no, but I'd be willing to cook the turkey if dinner was pushed to 6, giving me more time to prepare on my terms. He said that was too late. He then suggested his mum could cook the sides and I would just handle the turkey. Again, I said I would only do it if dinner was moved to 6. When he refused, I stood firm and said no. I want to bring something easy this year, like sodas and desserts, just like everyone else gets to do. I'm tired of being the one responsible for the main dish when others can step up. For context, we live next door to his parents and his sister, so the constant expectations from his family are exhausting. My husband and I share the household responsibilities equally. He does all the daily cleaning, even when we aren't hosting, and we both handle the kids' baths, school drop-offs, and pickups. I'm not complaining about him at all. The issue is with his family. His family keeps insisting the others can't cook or host because they're incompetent. But the real problem is that my in-laws coddle them and never let them take responsibility for anything. That's not my problem to solve. I just want a break from being the one carrying the load every year. I'm sticking to my boundaries. If they think no one else is capable of cooking, then they can deal with the consequences, not me. Also, I had said since last month that I didn't want to host or cook, so this is not new information to his family. Another update. Someone asked how it became the tradition of me making the turkey. My mother-in-law rarely made a turkey. They usually went to my husband's paternal grandparents' house. Him and the cousins are all of the same age, so once everyone got married, his aunts and cousins started doing their own thing. I got handed the job of turkey because my mother-in-law said that her oven was too small to fit the turkey. She has one of those built-in wall ovens from the 80s. The first year before we were living next to them, she came over and brought it prepped and put it in the oven herself and would come by to check it. Every year after that, I was tasked to do it by myself. So for the first 7 years of me making it, we would have to carry it in the car over to their house. Also, in years past, we would have a second turkey made fried or smoked by my father-in-law. No one liked it or would eat it, so it would go to the dog. I was still making the main turkey, so that was just a second one. Final update. My husband apologized for everything that was said and fully supported my decision not to cook this year. I didn't cook and instead spent some time with my mum. On Wednesday night, my eldest daughter stayed over at my mum's house and helped my sister prepare and cook for Thanksgiving. On Thursday, we went to my mum's house around noon, had lunch, and spent some time together. Later, at around 4:30, we headed to my sister-in-law's house for dinner. Her husband made the turkey, my mother-in-law prepared all the sides, and we brought dessert. It ended up being a really nice and relaxing Thanksgiving. In the comments, Top Cantaloupe says, "Just reading this made me want to cancel Thanksgiving. Not the asshole. You can cancel Thanksgiving if need be. Sounds stressful, and no one is helping. At this point, just pre-order takeout Chinese food the day before and serve it the next day, or get some cheap microwavables that are Turkey Day inspired and call it a day. You are not obligated to do it all the time. Someone should step in to alleviate the stress. You already do so much. Why do everything?" Weaponized incompetence is such an insidious form of laziness and selfishness. It's really gross. OP has to do everything for everyone all the time because no one else can figure out how to mash a potato? Let the rest of the family teach themselves some basic skills, or else meet at a restaurant. These awful people have been enabled for too long. Oh, you're being terribly unfair. If they don't know how to make something, how are they to learn? It's not like you can type "how to cook" item and get lists of sites with instructions or a video. Intentional Bad says, "Why is everyone on these subs so much more patient than me? All these endless negotiations and discussions. I don't have the energy." I'd say, "Husband, I have told you, I am not cooking the turkey. That is the information that you need. Do with that what you will. This conversation is over. For Christ's sake." Seriously, my spouse would never try pulling bullshit like this because he knows that I'd tell him exactly where he could put his effing turkey. Me too. I got enraged even before these people backed me up on this one. That's just so ridiculous that he's trying so much to negotiate with you and be like, well, can you still be responsible for it even though you said you wouldn't be responsible for it? What do I have to say and do to get you to be responsible for it? Please. They can't just walk one house over and do something that they were able to do 7 years ago. Do you know how much of a pressure that puts on me as your husband? Like, Jesus Christ, OP. You've been with this guy for what, 15 years? More than that? You have a 15-year-old with him. How can you not just yell at him like a normal human being and say, "Get your head out of your ass. What's gotten into you? You go deal with your own ridiculous parents yourself. Not my problem." I don't get it. I just don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. If you've been married for so long, how can you not just be honest with people like that? And how do you not know how to shut them up? Boggles my mind. Will forever boggle my mind. Thank you for the story, OP. Very much enjoyable. I'm glad you had a good Thanksgiving. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. Thanks for listening to me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.